to prevent insubordination in the military and to prevent the support of U.S. enemies during wartime. Now, look. If you find out that somebody is aiding and abetting the enemy in wartime, per the Constitution, you know what you can charge him with? You can charge him with treason. That's what you can charge him with. You can charge him with treason. It's right here. Article 3, Section 3. All right. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act, or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. So what does that say? The bad laws, the bad law that was passed in 1917 that has been used against Victor Berger, Joseph Franklin Rutherford, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, Daniel Ellsberg, Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning, and Ed Snowden. It's a bad law and shouldn't operate. I understand concerns regarding, are people plotting against the government? But if people are plotting against the government, you don't have to charge them under the Espionage Act. You can charge them in violation of the Constitution. That's the issue. That's the issue that people have to realize. And I realize that when I'm looking at the people who have been charged under here, I realize that you have several people who were charged with helping out the Soviets. Well, you can charge them under treason. It's simple. You don't have to charge them under the Espionage Act. And now it's being used in the U.S. Now it was being used against James Rosen. Judith Miller was found in violation of it. You see, this is the problem. This is the problem. Because once you go down the road of looking at Judith Miller, looking at James Rosen, hacking the AP, once you go down that road, then you end up getting into the situation that Sedef Kabbas is in, where she has been charged with targeting public service tasked with fighting against terrorism for criticizing a prosecutor. And for criticizing a prosecutor who dropped a case against 53 people due to lack of evidence. That's the problem. This is what we meaning the freedom and liberty folks, this is what the freedom and liberty folks are fighting against. We are fighting against the U.S. turning into, for lack of a better term, the U.S. turning into Turkey. Or the U.S. turning into France. Because France has, despite saying that the press is largely unrestricted by law in France, let's not forget the fact that Charlie Hebdo was sued in 2007 by the Grand Mosque of Paris for publicly abusing a group on the ground of their religion, including the Muhammad bomb, or the Muhammad cartoon with a bomb in his turban. And at the same time, they were firebombed and hacked in 2011 for some of their pictures, which of course then led to the attack on January 7th. See, this is the issue that we are looking at. This is what we have to be very, very careful of. In the U.S. This is what we're fighting against. We're fighting against bad laws and laws that limit freedom of speech. And at the same time, we do have a responsibility to not go overboard in some of the comments that we make. We have the right to. We absolutely have the right to. And there's nothing wrong with using our right to free speech. But we have to be very, very smart about it. And we have to decide how we're going to do it. And sometimes it is okay for us to self-censor ourselves. Sometimes it's okay for us to decide, no, we're not going to say that. Or no, we're not going to tweet that. Because there are consequences. Or there can be consequences. But there's a big difference between us deciding to self-censor ourselves and being told by the government to self-censor ourselves. Now, private organizations, at least on private time and on official accounts, because if you're not getting paid, if you're doing something while you're not getting paid and you don't say that you represent a company, you don't say that you represent a group, private organizations they can have a list of, hey, we really don't want you to do this sort of thing. But if you're not doing it, if you're only speaking for yourself, and you're not speaking for your employer, if it's your own public opinion, or your own opinion, and you're not using official company property, you ought to be allowed to do it. It's simple as that. You ought to be allowed to do it. Or say what you want. Now, if you're on company time and you're using company resources, whether it's an email, whether it's a piece of equipment, I can understand in those situations why there might be consequences for actions, words. But if it's your own personal time and it's your own personal technology and you're not getting paid and you're not using company equipment, you really ought to be able to say whatever you want. And I think that's free speech. If you disagree with me, because this is a taped show, unfortunately this week is a taped show, you can email me or tweet me. You can tweet me at EYE Desert Blog. That's at EYE Desert Blog, iDesert Blog. As usual, I will make my promise to change it at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. Or you can email me, Taylor at vigilantlibertyradio.us. That's Taylor at vigilantlibertyradio.us. You can email me there, you can tweet me, I will read them. I will respond to them. Possibly, if I have time. For those of you who have my cell phone number and you want to call and complain, you can call me. No, I'm not putting my cell phone number out on air before anybody thinks I will. I'm not doing that. But we are going to hit the top of the hour. Let's go another hour. Why not? or at least try to. This is